welcome to the show. I'm Tiffany.
Welcome, I'm Elsie.
All right, so today we have quite a fun article, and you like English, right?
I like English. I think you do too.
I think so as well. I think it's just easy for me to express myself. And there's a lot of things that we can talk about in English. So for me, it's very natural.
But sometimes when we come across some words or phrases that we're talking about, I always wonder why we have those words and phrases.
That's true.
What's the origin of them?
And I also want to know, why do we say it?
Yeah.
So I think this is actually really interesting. Even for me, a person who grew up speaking English, this is something that I've always been interested in as well.
And your mother tongue is English, right?
Yeah. So let's take a look at our article then to actually find out what phrases we are talking about.
Okay.
Reading.
The origins of two unusual English phrases. Modern English contains many phrases and words that don't seem like they make much sense. However, they actually have some pretty interesting origins. One example of this is the phrase, "It's Greek to me." This phrase means that something is hard to understand. It comes from a Latin saying that means, "It is Greek. It cannot be read." People started using the phrase as a metaphor in early modern times. In fact, it was first used this way in Shakespeare's Julius Caesar in 1599. The characters in the play spoke Latin, so of course they couldn't understand Greek. The phrase has been common ever since. "It's Greek to me" doesn't mean something is hard to understand in just English either. The phrase is also used in Spanish, Polish, and Swedish. Other languages have similar phrases. For example, the actual Greeks used Chinese to describe something over their heads, as do the Russians and the French. It seems that every language uses another to describe something that is difficult to understand.
All right, so the article says, modern English contains many phrases and words that don't seem like they make much sense. So yeah, especially with the internet and how we use our cell phones so much now, I think there are so many new words that even I can keep up with it. Like selfie. Okay, now I know what selfie is. Or you see the word chillax.
Chillax.
Yeah, CHILLAX. Yeah, there's a lot of new words that I don't really understand. So there's even more words that are, I think, more difficult that we don't really even know what it means now.
True. No wonder there are so many books about how to memorize English words and phrases. And you mentioned words like selfie, 自拍照, and chillax, chill and relax, 冷静放松. It seems that new words are being created every day.
Exactly. So to really try to understand, let's first take a look at the word we saw in our sentence. We saw the word contain. CONTAIN. It's a verb and it means to have or hold something within. So it is a part of it. For example, cookies contain butter and sugar, meaning when you eat a cookie, the cookie that we eat, it has a part of sugar and it has a part of butter together. So it has these two things within the cookie.
Okay, contain 就是包含的意思啦。那刚刚 Tiffany 老师提到的 cookies 饼干 contain butter and sugar， 它包含了奶油还有糖分等等之类的这个 ingredients 材料。那如果你在 contain 这个动词的字尾加上 er， container 就是名词容器的意思。
Right. And the sentence we just read means that there are a lot of new phrases and words that we really just don't understand.
So in English, there are 26 letters, 26个字母。Words, 单字是由字母组成的。那 phrases, 片语则是由单字所组成。
Right. Because we saw another word in here. We saw phrase. So a phrase, it's a noun and it means a group of 2 or more words to express one single idea. So, for example, we use a lot of simple phrases in our daily lives. For example, cheer up. This is a phrase. Practice makes perfect. Okay, or even, what do you think? These are all phrases as well.
Yes, and like turn on a light, turn off the light, put on your jacket, take off your shoes. We see turn on, turn off, take off, put on. These are all phrases too, right?
That's right. The article then says, however, they actually have some pretty interesting origins. So this is something that Elsie and I discussed. We said that a lot of English words, they come from really interesting places. So, words don't pop out of just nowhere. Okay, it comes from something. There is a beginning or a start to this. So when we talk about a beginning, we can also say an origin. So origin, and it means the point or place where something begins. So every English word has an origin, meaning it comes from a different language, like maybe Latin or German or French.
Origin 就是起源的意思啦。Then the article says, one example of this is the phrase, it's Greek to me. Greek, 希腊的，希腊人，希腊语。What does this example mean, Tiffany?
The article explains to us this phrase means that something is hard to understand. Okay, it comes from a Latin saying that means it is Greek. It cannot be read. So, it's like, for example, if you don't know Spanish, okay, it's going to be very hard for you to understand. You don't understand anything. So this is what it's Greek to me means as well. Some people, they don't understand Greek. So when they hear it, it's all just sounds.
Yeah. You can't understand something that you can't read, right? So when you say it's Greek to me or it's all Greek to me, it means you don't understand it. 也就是我不懂的意思。
Right. The article then says, people started using the phrase as a metaphor in early modern times. Okay, when we talk about metaphor, it's relating to literature. So it means it's a figure of speech. So it's not literally the way it is described or said. And metaphors are mostly used to compare things. For example, you can say the classroom was a zoo, meaning the classroom was really messy. Okay, it's not literally a zoo. Like we don't really have monkeys or zebras or giraffes in there. It just means the classroom is very, very messy, like how a zoo might be if you put all the animals together.
Yeah, metaphor, 隐喻、暗喻，在这样的比喻当中啊，我们是不会看到像是 like 或是 us 这些解释为像点点点一样的字。就像刚刚 Tiffany 老师提到的 ，The classroom was a zoo， 他直接把教室当做一个动物园来做比喻。那还有其他的 metaphors.
Yeah, there's
Tiffany.
actually a lot of fun ones that we can say. Like, for example, my brother is a couch potato, meaning my brother is so lazy and spends time on the couch all day watching TV. He's not literally a potato, but it just means that he's just sitting there.
Yeah.
He doesn't move.
So, what else can we say?
I have another one for you. Her tears flowed down like a river. So it means that the girl couldn't stop crying. So when you cry, you're very upset, and your tears just come down like a river is flowing.
Yeah, but when we use like in the sentence, is it a metaphor or a simile?
Ah, that's right. When you use like or as, it's called a simile. And do you want to explain this in Chinese? I think it's kind of complicated.
Yeah, 所以除了 metaphor 之外呢，我们刚刚说 metaphor 是隐喻、暗喻，然后这样的比喻当中是不会看到 like 或 us 这些字的。那另外一种比喻呢，就像是刚刚 Tiffany 老师提到的 Her tears flow down like a river， 我们看到了 like 这个字，在这样的比喻里面呢，它叫做名喻法 simile， S-I-M-I-L-E simile， 我们就会看到像 like us 等等的字眼。For example, my brother is like a monkey, or I'm as busy as a bee. These are similes that we use.
Right. All right, so let's continue reading the article. It says, in fact, it was first used this way in Shakespeare's Julius Caesar in 1599. Wow, so it goes really back.
So it's Greek to me was first used in 1599 by Shakespeare? Okay.
That makes sense. He really helped shape modern English, I think.
Yeah.
Okay, the article then says the characters in the play spoke Latin, so of course they couldn't understand Greek. Okay, so Caesar was a Roman emperor, so I guess they spoke Latin, yeah. And then they were enemies with the Greeks for a long time, so they didn't want to learn the language. So that's why a lot of people, they couldn't understand things because they were like, where is this coming from?
Yeah, 我们都知道呢，在过去罗马和希腊呢曾经是敌对的状态。那罗马人说的是拉丁语，他们是不懂希腊语的。So the characters in the play， 在这个 Shakespeare 这个剧作里面，凯撒大帝这出剧当中啊，他们的人呢是不会说希腊语的。
When we talk about a character in a play or in a movie, it just means a person in a novel, play, or film.
Character 角色。
Right, so for example, in William Shakespeare's play, Romeo and Juliet, can you guess who the two main characters are?
Romeo and Juliet, of course, are the two main characters.
Right, the play is named after them, so Romeo and Juliet are two people from the story.
OK, 这边再跟同学们补充啊 character 除了当角色之外呢，还可以当做一个人的个性，或者是呢一个字，比如说呢中文字当中的中好了，它就是一个 character.
Right. The article then says, the phrase has been common ever since. So ever since Shakespeare used it, everyone started to use it as well.
So has the phrase only been used by English-speaking people?
Actually, the article also says, it's Greek to me doesn't mean something is hard to understand in just English either. So actually, no, I think non-English speaking people also use this phrase.
Yes, as the article says, the phrase is also used in Spanish, Polish, and Swedish.
So the article also continues to say other languages have similar phrases. Okay, when something is similar, S-I-M-I-L-A-R, it's an adjective and it means something that is almost the same. So, for example, I can say Spanish and Portuguese sound similar to each other. It means they're almost the same, but not exactly the same.
Right. Similar, 相似的，接近的。A and B are similar. A 和 B 很相近，很相似，可是不一样哦。
The article then says, for example, the actual Greeks use Chinese to describe something over their heads, as do the Russians and the French. So I would say maybe if I were German, I can even say it's all Chinese to me. Okay? Or maybe if I were Spanish, I could say it is all Russian to me. So I think we can apply this to people from all over the world. So if you speak a language, you can also compare it to another language that you completely don't understand.
Yes, so we can change the language into one that we don't understand in the phrase, right?
That's right. All right, so here in the article, we also see the word describe. When you describe something, it means you are talking about it. So you're talking about the way it looks, maybe the way it feels, the way it tastes. So for example, if I were to describe what a chocolate cake tastes, or this cake tastes like, I can say, oh, it tastes like chocolate. It tastes very delicious as well.
And it's very sweet. Yes. So describe 是描述的动作。那它的名词呢，我们说 description.
Right. So when you describe something, you're talking a lot about the adjectives.
Yeah.
All right. So next in the article, it says, it seems that every language uses another to describe something that is difficult to understand.
If you do understand Greek, try to use another language in the phrase, it's Greek to me.
Right. So maybe you can say, it's Russian to me instead.
It's Spanish to me. It's Korean to me.
Exactly. All right. So let's take a short break and we'll be right back with our For You chat.
For You chat.
All right, so our For You chat for today is, what language will you use to describe something that is hard to understand? Why?
I would say it's all Korean to me because I really think that Korean characters are some kind of drawings. They seem like circles and crosses to me. What about you?
Me, I would say maybe it's all Russian to me because Russian is kind of the same. Russian actually is a little bit more tricky as well because I see sometimes they have like letters that look like A or B or G, but it's not pronounced the English way. It's pronounced a different way as well. So for me, I would say it's all Russian to me because the same thing. I will look at these words and I have no idea how to pronounce them. So,
and
yes.
I think German is also one kind of a language that's really hard.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I tried to learn German, Japanese, Spanish, and maybe a little bit French.
Yeah.
But now I can't speak any of these languages that I learned before.
I think German is quite hard to learn.
Yeah, it is.
Because, we see these words and they're English letters, but they're pronounced in a different way. And
sometimes the way you pronounce the words is different. Like, you have to maybe 弹舌.
Yes.
Right, to do this sound. This is hard for me.
Not a lot of people can do that as well. So when people learn languages, I think certain languages are really hard to learn because you can't make the exact pronunciation and you can't speak it as fluently.
Yeah, and I think for Western world people, they think Chinese is definitely the hard one to learn.
Yeah.
Like we have 4 tones. The 4 tones will make them feel so confused.
Yes.
Right.
I felt confused as well. And even writing is really difficult.
Yeah. And I think our characters are all pictures.
Actually, I think Chinese characters were pictures before, right?
Yeah.
And then they turned into a lot of
different
lines.
words, yeah.
A lot of crosses and lines.
Yes.
All right, so you guys think about this. What language will you use to describe something that is hard to understand and why? And discuss within your classmates or with your teacher. And we'll see you guys next time.
See you.
Bye.
Bye.
The origins of 2 unusual English phrases. Modern English contains many phrases and words that don't seem like they make much sense. However, they actually have some pretty interesting origins. One example of this is the phrase, "It's Greek to me." This phrase means that something is hard to understand. It comes from a Latin saying that means, "It is Greek. It cannot be read." People started using the phrase as a metaphor in early modern times. In fact, it was first used this way in Shakespeare's Julius Caesar in 1599. The characters in the play spoke Latin, so of course they couldn't understand Greek. The phrase has been common ever since. "It's Greek to me" doesn't mean something is hard to understand in just English either. The phrase is also used in Spanish, Polish, and Swedish. Other languages have similar phrases. For example, the actual Greeks used Chinese to describe something over their heads, as do the Russians and the French. It seems that every language uses another to describe something that is difficult to understand.
Vocabulary Review.
Contain. This one bag contains everything that I own, which isn't much. Phrase. Beat around the bush is a phrase that means avoiding directly talking about something. Origin. The movie is an origin story and is about how the hero got his start. Character. To my disappointment, my favorite character in the movie was killed at the end. Similar. The 2 brothers look similar, but not enough to be confused for each other. Describe. Can you describe what the man who attacked you looked like?